Hi everybody, and it is Kevin
and Ralph,
and we're at the cottage and we're getting ready to prepare dinner. So it's summertime, and casseroles aren't always something you associate with warm weather, but as far as we're concerned, they're good any time of year.
Plus it's been kind of a cold spring summer.
It has been, and so we love kind of comfort foods. We have turkey in July, so that's just how we roll around here at the cottage. And of course, in true American style, I often like to use soups in preparing casseroles. We're going to do a celery chicken casserole. So if you like celery and you like chicken, this is a great casserole.
I do.
And celery often gets kind of a short shrift, I think. It's a great vegetable, has a wonderful flavor. And here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to start with the chicken. Now, we are going to poach these chicken thighs. So these are whole chicken thighs. I think it looks like there's 4 of them. Chicken thighs are inexpensive, and there's a lot of meat on them. You could use chicken breast if you prefer white meat. We like the dark meat. I think it has a little bit more flavor.
More juiciness too.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to put these chicken thighs in the water here.
You said you were going to poach them. What does that mean exactly?
It means cooking in liquid, basically a very low simmer or boil. We're going to take a stick of celery, and no need to be fancy. We're going to put that in the water. We're going to stick a carrot in there.
Now, is that just for flavoring?
It's just for flavoring.
So those are not going to be
No, they're not. I've got some bay leaves here, some salt, and you can see some peppercorns.
Rabbit turds, what?
And we're just going to put those in there. Those are peppercorns. Okay? So what we'll do is we will bring this to a boil and then turn it down, and we'll let the thighs probably will need about 20 minutes or 25 minutes or so to cook thoroughly. But they'll cook, they'll stay moist, and then what we'll do is we'll pull the chicken off the bones and we'll put it on the side, and then we'll start putting our casserole together. Okay? I'm also going to parboil the celery a little bit to get that ready for the casserole. Alright, so what we're going to do now is just get the celery ready. I've got a stalk of celery here, -1 because I
use
put it
that
in a
for
pot.
the poaching.
But what we're going to do is we're going to sort of just cut the celery through, leaves and all. There is great flavor in those celery leaves. And what I like to do is I like to just chop it right through here. And maybe a couple more chops. Okay. Then, celery, the way, because of how it grows, you get a lot of dirt that kind of goes in there. So what I like to do is I just have a little bowl of cold water here, and we'll give it a little bath, and I'm going to chop a little more while we're at it, because we really want a nice, strong celery flavor in the casserole. We're going to, once I kind of get this rinsed, then I'm going to put this in some boiling water, kind of blanch it, start to get it softened a little bit, because celery does take a while to cook. And in the casserole, we're just kind of heating things through, because we're actually combining things that are mostly already cooked. Noodles, the chicken, the celery, and of course we're going to use cream of celery soup and cream of chicken soup as well. A little bit of cheese, and then that's it. So it doesn't need to be in the oven a whole long time, and it certainly wouldn't be in there long enough or hot enough for the celery to really soften up. The chicken has poached for about a half an hour. Just took it out. It's cooling here, so it's completely cooked, and we'll get the chicken shredded off the bone. What I did then is I took out, we had a carrot and some peppercorns and a big stalk of celery.
For some flavoring.
Skim the fat. So we have this wonderful broth, of course, that the chicken cooked in, and I am blanching the celery in this, but probably will actually maybe not quite a blanch. It might be a little bit more than a blanch, because we want this celery to be tender to the bite. So we're going to cook the celery for a few minutes in the chicken broth that the chicken cooked in.
So all the celery that you had chopped up with the leaves that was in the yellow bowl went right into the chicken
leaves
broth.
and all.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll get started on getting this chicken shredded off the bone, and keep an eye on our celery as it cooks. And then the only thing we'll have to do after that is get our noodles cooked, and then we can put the whole wonderful celery casserole together.
Yummy. This should...
Okay, I have put Ralph to work, and what he's doing is he is pulling the chicken off the bone. That one of those wonderful chicken thighs that we got, and you can see how the chicken just comes right off.
Because it's dark meat, there is more fat, but we like the flavor of the dark meat. But we're making sure to leave the skin and as much fat as we can on this plate, and putting just the meat in this bowl for our casserole.
That's right. So Ralph will finish pulling the chicken thighs apart and getting our meat for the casserole, and then we'll start combining all the ingredients. So
Now, if my mom was doing this, she would not be using forks. She would have her fingers in there, getting every last bit of meat. So,
do you want your fingers in there?
well, once the camera's off, maybe.
All right, we're back. This is our celery spectacular, and we're going to put all the parts of the casserole together right now. So here's what we did. We cooked our egg noodles. We've got wide ones here. Cook them about 3 or 4 minutes short of the package directions. So
Because they're going to bake.
exactly. So if it calls for 10 minutes or 12 minutes, take 3 or 4 minutes off of that. So what we're going to do is first we're going to get our sauce together. So I've got a can of cream of chicken soup, and you know, the gourmets out there are rolling their eyes thinking, oh my God. But you know what? That's okay. Soup is a wonderful, canned soup is a wonderful miracle of our modern age. And you know, I have so many cookbooks from the 20s and 30s when canned soup first arrived on the scene. You know what? It was like a miracle.
It's great innovation, and so many of your cookbooks a lot of these old Americana cookbooks call for cans of soup, and so many, you know, let's be honest, how many of your mom's recipes out there had soup in them, canned soup? It was really a convenience and a time saver, a step saver, but also it worked because it's delicious, and many foods it works just well. So you have
1
cream
can
of
of
chicken
and cream of celery.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to mix those two together. Now we're going to dilute the soup with a little milk. I've got a half a cup of milk here. And then we're also going to add in our spices, our seasonings. Here's what I've got. Half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon dry mustard, half a teaspoon celery seed, a quarter of a teaspoon of white pepper, and from our little patch out there, I'm going to put in some fresh thyme.
from your back porch herb garden.
Yeah, this is the wonderful. You know, if you grow herbs, you can grow them in pots during the summertime, and boy, you always have these wonderful fresh herbs at your disposal. I kind of smush the leaves a little bit when I take them out because it helps to release the oils.
Which herb is this?
This is thyme, which is often associated with poultry. It's in poultry seasoning.
And I noticed you only pulled the leaves and left the stems. Is that the trick to doing?
Yeah, you don't
herbs?
want to put the stems in.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. So we've got that. So we've kind of got our sauce as it was. I've also reserved a half a cup of liquid. This is the same liquid that the chicken cooked in and that the celery cooked in. Now we cook the celery so that it's nice and tender to the bite. We're going to put our celery in. We have this beautiful chicken that Ralph pulled apart, and we have our sauce, and we also have some grated Romano cheese. Now you can use
Cheese of your choice.
yeah, but the cheese will add certain creaminess, and Romano will give it a little bit of bite. I'm going to reserve that. This is about 2 cups. I'm going to reserve that last little bit for
The top.
yeah.
Did you want it to brown?
Now in goes our sauce.
So is this all going to get stirred, or is it going to stay kind of?
No, we're going to
layers?
stir it all up because it all needs to kind of cook together. But I'm certainly going to need a bigger spatula than the one I have. So this is, if you have an apron, a good time to wear it. But
where's your apron?
well, you know, it's like I always forget.
Good thing the table's clean.
Yes, keep the table clean.
That
So
way you can retrieve any and rescue any pieces that fall out. You're dropping a
I
lot
know.
onto
Well,
the table.
it'll all fit in this bowl. It's the biggest bowl I have, but
Yeah, it'll
we're
all
just
get.
going to make it. Now, if it looks a little dry, then that's when you can
Add more.
take
broth.
a little of that broth and you add that in. And those noodles will just soak that broth up, and
Plus,
wanna-
they'll continue to cook once they're in the oven.
exactly.
And that way they won't get dried out.
So the oven's at 350, and we're going to put, look at all that beautiful celery. Make sure, what you really want is to get all the noodles coated nicely with the gravy or the sauce. All right, we're going to take our last bit of cheese here and just sprinkle that on top. I have to wash my hands real quick. There it is. Now, we're going to put that in the oven, for about 35 to 40 minutes at 350. When we come back, we'll enjoy our celery chicken casserole. Okay, we just took it out of the oven. It's cooled off for a minute or two, and this is our chicken celery casserole. You can see that.
Now we think celery is an overlooked vegetable that we both love, and it's good to make food with it if you can. And we found a great way to spice up a chicken casserole with it.
That's right. We are declaring celery as the new hot food item.
Celery is the new black.
So you've got the casserole. We're serving it with a dilled coleslaw.
With fresh dill from your back porch.
Put a little
herb
pepper
garden.
on there, and a light fruity white,
What?
and we're good to go. So, Kevin and Ralph signing off with our Celery Spectacular Celery Chicken Casserole.
Try it at home and join us next time.
Thanks.